Alright, let's get into the next one before I cry again. Let's just go. The next one is gonna be, okay, Monica and Yuri. I'm not sure how these two could have some sort of conflict. Well, never mind. Monica's a bit of a perfectionist, and Yuri's bad with people, so I feel like this is gonna be, like, on Monica's end. Coming off too strong for Yuri, technically. So let's do this. Are just expressing emotions. Sometimes these are just hitting close to home and really spot on. A lot of the times when I'm trying to create a character that people can relate to, a lot of the times pulling from personal experience or pulling from the personal experiences that you've had with other people, I feel like that's the greatest, you get the best stuff from that. And sometimes that can be a little bit scary because it feels like you're putting that out on paper and stuff. But no, like, some of the best stories I've had, like, the writer genuinely was like, yeah, the characters are in a fantasy setting, but they're still human, or they still have a human thought process. And so pulling from your own personal thought processes, or even if it's, like, exasperating them, because obviously, like, these are extremes of these like, sort of inner thoughts and inner feelings. Like, I feel like I can relate to each of these characters, like, at certain points. Sayori's just coming from my entire bag. Like, Sayori literally is just, she thinks exactly like I used to think. But, like, I can definitely, like, see, like, bits and pieces of personality traits that I personally have in each of these girls. It's just, like, yeah, this dev is just really good at it. Yeah. I feel like that's the thing, is so many people are so, whenever they try to make, visual novels or novels like this, they, like, try to make a character cool or somebody that a character will like. When at the end of the day, sometimes the best way to make a character that people will like is to make a character that people can relate to. Like, and you know, I feel like that kind of sort of gets lost in translation a lot of the times. Like, it feels like, you know, their hobbies or their pros and cons become their personality traits, and that's not necessarily it at all. Like, personalities can be beautiful just as they can be ugly. Like, you can't really have a character that is 1000% infallible. And I like that, you know, they're really going over how these different personality traits can conflict. They're doing a really, really good job with it. And I'm 99.9998% sure that they are pulling this up from experience. Just because it's like there are so many experiences that I've had that I can correlate to what the girls are going through. So that's really nice. Either way, I guess we should get into Monica and Yuri's thing.
Am I bothering you? No. Okay, just checking. It's hard to tell since you always look into it when you're reading. It makes you scared to interrupt. Well, it's within my expectation to be interrupted when I read here. It's mainly when I'm by myself that I don't like it. That makes sense. I guess if you're here in the first place, then you're more ready to socialize, even if it takes a little bit of prodding. It's not so bad to be social if I let others do the work, so it can be healthy to put myself in social environment every now and then. It's mostly difficult when I don't know anyone, when there are too many people, or everyone's being too silly for me to keep up with.
Yuri glances across the room to Sayori and Natsuki. Sayori has her head cocked back and her mouth open, trying to catch pieces of cookie that Natsuki is lobbing into the air, but the pieces keep bouncing off her face and hitting the floor.
Maybe I should say something. No need. They just ran out of cookie. What a waste.
Ooh, Fury's being judgmental.
They've really become good friends, haven't they? I'm happy. Sayori seems particularly good at making that happen. But the two of them are both on the energetic side, so I suppose it works out well. Yeah, come to think of it, you and I haven't had many chances to talk one-on-one, have we? Though that may be partially my fault, since I'm supposed to be the one engaging club members. Not at all. I've probably formed a habit of drawing minimal attention to myself.
Ah. Well, welcome in, Kilnright.
Hope you're enjoying the stream so far.
Sorry if you came in while I was freaking bawling my eyes out at Natsuki and Sayori's little moment. Maybe not bawling my eyes out, but I definitely shed a tear or two. Oof.
The responsibility is equally on me, at least to display some openness to engage. Well, what about during times like lunch? Do you meet up with friends? I just read. Oh, but I like it that way. It feels nice to be carried off again after a morning of classes. Do you always read fantasy? Oh, not always. I suppose it's all I've read recently, only because I'm in the middle of the series. There's still 2 more books after this one. I guess those long books suit you well, since you spend so much time reading. Well, fantasy may be my favorite, but after that I'm more or less indiscriminate to genres. I'll read anything with depth and maturity. Hey there, Dimensional Reaper! Oh yeah? Even like romance? Well, there are a lot of books that have elements of romance in them. Oh, come on, Yuri. You know what I mean.
Monica lowers her voice.
It's a guilty pleasure of mine, so I won't tell anyone if you do, too. Maybe more when I was in middle school. I mean, I was really lonely and people were mean to me a lot. So it kind of felt like, please don't make me think about the past. Sorry, I just got super curious.
The only horror we're currently getting is how much this is making me open up about my inner feelings. What point am I at? We have finished all of Doki Doki Literature Club, the standard game. Like, we even got the golden ending, so I'm assuming that the horror is all done. Don't tell me if it isn't. Like, if the game explodes after we're done with the side stories or something, I'd like to be surprised. But we've gone through the first 4 side stories, and we are on the 5th side story, which is Monica and Yuri, so we're just kind of sort of going through these things, and then reading the mail and stuff, and just exploding.
Absolutely not. Really? Even if it's just between us? Try asking someone who has no shame, like Natsuki. Ouch. Sorry, I swear I didn't mean that. Well, I guess it was my fault for pressuring you. I'm like that for things in my past, too. You know, things I feel too embarrassed to re-experience. There's nothing wrong with growing out of things. It happens to everyone. For instance, Natsuki's interest in manga reminds me quite a bit of how intense I used to be about my own interests. Makes me think that she'll likely grow out of it, too.
Well, that's fucking rude.
Hey, were you talking about me?
Yeah, I was gonna say, that was rude, Yuri. That was rude as hell. I think this is the first time where I haven't really been on Yuri's side all that much, aside from the fact that when she, like, aside from her going, like, super nuts, but...
No, we were just talking about how our interests have changed over the years. When did you get into manga, Natsuki? Huh? Like a couple of years ago, I guess. I was already sort of into it before that, but I wasn't really going hard until then. Well, yeah? What was it that inspired you to get more into it?
I don't know. I guess, let me think. It was after I discovered a series that I really liked. Yeah, I was just, like, really fed up with a lot of things. And I got super into this one series that I really related to. And then Yuri's just gonna fade off into the background. I guess I had an edgy phase where I just hated everyone around me and wanted to be by myself. Like, Natsuki's not doing anything wrong, but Yuri's gonna take offense to that.
Hey, kind of like Yuri. Monica! Sorry, that's completely wrong, so... It's still cool that you both really found your thing. You're almost like opposites, but it sounds like they helped you a lot through hard times. You know it! Wow, what the heck? Is that book even bigger than the last one you were reading? It's technically slightly longer, but not by very much.
How high do you think it would go if you stacked the whole series? Natsuki estimates by holding her hand above her head, sizing up an imaginary stack. I should get like one of those mangas that's like 50 volumes long so I can say I read more than you.
Not that I have money for that. Please. That would hardly count when your books only have a few words per page. I know, I was just joking.
I never actually read books like yours. It's too boring for me. Yuri shoots a glare at Natsuki. It's not boring. This is another one of those things where you just have to accept that you like different literary mediums. Till, I said for me, not for you. I have my own opinion. I just think it's too convoluted. Sorry, are those from the floor? I love Sayori. Listen, they clean the floor here. Don't judge me. Ah, gross. Also, wash your hands before touching into my books. My hands aren't dirty. Just do it. The oils are there, even if you can't see them. Fine. Sayori trots out the door and then Natsuki follows. Yuri, you look a little upset. What kind of nerve does she have to call my hobby boring? Well, you literally just said her hobby sucked and that she should grow out of it, so... pot calling kettle. Well, she did correct herself. Hardly. She was so condescending. I don't mind that she thinks it's not for her. I already understand that it's not for everyone. But you know as well how these mean to me, so how about just leaving me alone instead of needlessly telling me things you hate about it? This is one of those things where Yuri's a bit of a hypocrite. To be the time to randomly offer magic virtual cookies and milk to enjoy by is attached to these characters. I'm already attached to them. I can't. Even Natsuki found a place in my heart, and I hated her in the original game. Sorry to the people who like Natsuki. I'm sorry, Yuri. You may be right. This won't be the last time people have strong feelings about what they like and don't like. Especially in a literature club, so I should figure out how to mediate discussions to keep them positive and constructive. For the record, I've always been impressed by the level of creativity in your books, and also your ability to get through them so quickly. Thank you. Okay, well this is something I'll have to think about and revisit. I'm sure I can help Natsuki find some common ground with you. Now Yuri's gonna be like, well, I don't want common ground with Natsuki. Her shit sucks. Common ground isn't necessary. I just wish to be respected. Respect is a two-way street, Yuri. You literally cannot expect somebody to respect you if you literally respect nothing about them. Like, it is very obvious that Yuri does not think very highly of Natsuki, thinks that her hobbies are childish, doesn't want to get to know her, and yet you want her to respect you? Yuri, this is the first time that I've actually been like, Yuri, wow. That's fine. Either way, I'll do my best. That's not fine, Monica. You gotta tell Yuri respects a two-way street. Just gotta tell it like it is. I'm skeptical when it comes to Natsuki. I trust you, Monica, but I'm skeptical. I feel like this should be the Natsuki Yuri one. Okay, everyone. We have a special club meeting today. As you know, the Literature Club is a place where we get to share things that we're really passionate about. But that also means we should be mindful of how we respond to each other's feelings. I think we have a chance to turn our differences into positive energy for each other. Aren't you being a little dramatic about this? This is important to me. Well, sorry. I just feel like I'm being accused of something. No, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm sorry if it came off that way. But our conversation yesterday may reflect on the power of language. I thought it would be a good topic for the Literature Club, don't you think? I'm sure we're going to have differences in opinion a lot, so I need to make sure we're prepared to keep positive atmosphere in the club. If you say so, sure. The cool thing about language is that it gives us a lot of different ways to express the same idea or emotion. We have a lot of control over how we want the other person to feel when receiving our thought. This goes for poetry, narratives, casual conversation, basically anything. For example, Sayori, what's your favorite food? I have them organized by category. Should I start with snacks or do you mean full meals? Should I include breakfast? I feel the same way. Breakfast is in its own category for me. Treat others how you want them to treat you, pretty much. Oh, geez. Okay, how about your favorite fruit? Oh, that's easy. Cherries. Really? I always thought cherries tasted nasty. What? Cherries are delicious. Whoa, that's a pretty strong reaction. Well, I just don't understand how somebody could think cherries are nasty. How does that make you feel? I don't know, sad,
Defensive, maybe? Yeah, I got defensive. See, the reason you had such a strong reaction was just because I don't like cherries.
This is where Monica's strong point comes in. Because, like, she was part of the debate club, so obviously she's gonna be good at looking at both sides of an argument. So, good on you, Monica! This is probably the most positive you've been this entire game. And that's saying something because you killed all the other girls at one point. So, it's a big step up from that.
It's because you felt like your opinion was under attack. But that's weird, right? Something like taste is completely subjective. But when I say something like, I think cherries are nasty, I'm using objective language. I'm challenging Sayori's reality that cherries are delicious with my own, which is that cherries are nasty. Wait, hold on. How's that objective when you said it was only your own opinion? It has to do with the way your brain interprets the words. You're talking about the reality of the cherries, not your feelings about them.
Exactly. You can literally say, just by changing the way you speak, you can literally be respecting someone's opinion while also giving your own. For example, saying, cherries are fucking nasty, is literally like attacking cherries themselves. What you could say is, I just don't personally like cherries. Like, you can literally just say, I don't personally like cherries. I don't know why, but for some reason I just never really got into eating cherries. Or, you know, it's like, I could see why some people might like cherries, but they're just not for me. You can literally just change your language around to say, this is my opinion. It is okay to like cherries. But if you're like, nah, cherries are fucking nasty, then obviously that's attacking the cherries themselves and not like voicing your opinion on the cherry in general. Like, I get what she's trying to do.
Like, Sayori, let's rewind for a second and pretend I didn't tell you that I think cherries are nasty.
Good. She's like, damn straight.
So what if instead of that I said, like, I've tried cherries and they're not for me. It's not the kind of flavor I enjoy. Well, that's fine, as long as you don't call them nasty. Nasty's a nasty word. Okay, so cherries was kind of a weird example, but I think it gets the point across. This time around, instead of talking about cherries, I just talked about my feelings. And Sayori didn't get offensive.
Fuck your cherries.
So instead of clashing with each other, it's like we received an invitation to talk about our differences. Yuri, you don't need to take notes. I'm not gonna quiz you or something.
Yuri's like, this is good shit. Cherries are nasty is different than I think cherries are nasty. Exactly. I know that. I was just...
Sorry, I didn't mean to call you out. You can do whatever you like. But does anyone have any thoughts so far?
Yeah, I just feel like I shouldn't have put all my language through a filter just to protect someone's feelings. But it's the respect thing. If you want respect from somebody, you have to learn where you stand. Like, if you want respect, that's fine, but then nobody's gonna respect you. That's what we're trying to get at.
Well, you don't have to. The choice is yours on how you want to come across with other people.
But that also means that you can't be mad if somebody gets offended at what you say.
I'm only suggesting it as a tool to help you turn your differences into a positive experience rather than an argument. Right, Sayori?
Whatever you say, cherry hater. Lol.
Oh, come on. Sayori actually liked cherries. I was just saying that to demonstrate. What the heck? I've been duped. Sorry, Sayori. I'll make it up to you later. How about a cherry sundae?
You are welcome to dupe me anytime, my beloved president.
Buying your people's loyalty. How deplorable.
Oh, like you wouldn't turn down a free sundae, Yuri. You're certainly a fan of those cupcakes I brought the other week.
I was reading and not keeping track of them. Oh, that's enough. We're getting off topic. So now we have the gist of it, how about we try it with something more relevant to the club? Like manga, right? Let's try to have a productive discussion about the differences in opinion. Yuri, do you want to start?
Well, I'd rather not, no. She's like, if you make me start, I'm gonna roast this bitch.
How come? Well, because I don't see anything productive can come from that. It's just going to start a fight. It'll be fine. That's why I'm here to moderate. Let's just have a calm and rational discussion.
Yeah, give me a little more credit. I think I know what the conflict is going to be. Monica keeps trying to push Yuri to come out of her comfort zone. Like, at first, she was trying to get Yuri to talk about the past, and Yuri did not want to talk about the past. And then she pushed a little bit, and she was just like, I just don't want to talk about it. And that's when Monica, like, backed off. It was only after Yuri just got really defensive and was like, I just don't want to talk about what happened in my past, okay? She's doing it here, where she's really trying to... It's okay to try and ease someone out of their comfort zone, but, like, genuinely just try to shove them out of it isn't healthy. I feel like it should be a natural progression. It's like, maybe if they don't want to talk about something, you know, just say, you know, that's fine. Just know that I wouldn't judge you for it, and I'm here if you ever do want to talk about it, you know? Like, I feel like there are ways to, like, ease into things and, like, say, I'm genuinely curious. I won't pry if you don't want to. I'm here if you ever feel like you could, but, like, meh.
I'm not a child. You don't have to coddle my feelings. I always think it's more respectable to just speak your mind. Respectable.
Yuri's expression changes at that word. As Monica recalls, being respected was the crux of the matter for Yuri.
Well, the point of the exercise isn't exactly like, it's fine.
Shit. And then Monica's gonna feel like it's her fault. This is just gonna explode. Monica, you need... Oh, Yuri. This is gonna end horribly, isn't it?
I have nothing against anyone's personally. You're entitled to enjoy whatever it is you like. I just prefer more in-depth...
No! No! Yuri! Yuri! Yuri's about to get roasted.
I just prefer more depth and nuance to my reading material. I like for stories that are imaginative and sophisticated beyond the surface level. Oh, well that's just a misunderstanding then. I thought you were going to say that manga's for children or something, like I don't hear enough of that. But there's plenty of deep manga. I'm not clueless about manga. I've read my own fair share when I was younger. What, are you serious? How come you never told me? Because I'm past that point in my life and I prefer not to revisit it. I prefer more mature things now.
Yuri.
Excuse me? Okay, hold on. Can I jump in here? Let's try to keep things subjective. Because if you imply that manga is immature, then aren't you implying that someone is immature for being into it?
Exactly.
Well, maybe it's immature to judge people for having different tastes than you. Fuck!
Ah! Yeah, like Yuri's ignoring the point.
Natsuki, nobody's immature. I've read Natsuki's manga and Yuri's fantasy, and I love them both in their own way.
Thank you, Sayori. Thank you. Frick. Like, I read Sherlock Holmes, like, the series in the 4th grade. Like, I'm sorry. Like, my brain was filled to the brim with lots of different novels. I also read manga. I also, like, took up poems. They're all stories. They're all forms of expressing yourself through writing. Just, they're in different mediums. Like, thank you, Sayori. Fuck's sake.
Okay. It's great that you like it, but I still find it boring. Boring isn't subjective. Okay, it bores me. That's subjective. But, I mean, the thing about... This is ridiculous. Do you see why I don't want to participate in this? I know it's just going to make people upset. I'm not upset! Like I said, I don't care what other people think. But I always got the impression that you secretly looked down upon me, so I'm glad my suspicions were confirmed. That's not true at all. You're making assumptions.
I mean, is she though? Is she though? Like, Yuri, you literally were talking behind her back, like, about how you're like, I have no faith in Natsuki. Is it an assumption though?
You can't blame me for getting defensive, and nobody ever has the least bit of respect for the things that I'm into. The only thing I look down upon is when people make fun of me for just being myself and trying to mind my own business.
Okay, Natsuki feels that way too.
What? Have you looked in a mirror? Tell me again about respect after calling out all my interests immature? You can't... Please stop. Please. You don't mean the things you're saying right now. Let's just be friends.
Poor Sayuri.
I didn't mean for this to happen. Well, it did. So please don't invite yourself to try and solve other people's problems next time. Okay?
Man, this is sad. I'm also the fix-it, so, like, I'm the fix-it type of person, and so I understand what Monika's going through here. And I'm just like, man, Monika just wanted to help. Monika just saw a sad situation and wanted to try to turn it into a positive one, and it just fell flat. And now, it just sucks. I hate it here. Yuri's piercing words send the club room into a choked silence as she gathers her things. She leaves.
Holy crap, I never heard her sound like that before. She must be so pissed. Well, you weren't very nice either, so I was just saying. How did this happen? It's my fault. Yuri wasn't wrong. I shouldn't have tried to moderate a conflict when I know how bad I am at dealing with conflicts. It was a really stupid thing for me to do. It's nobody's fault, and it wasn't stupid. Everyone in the club is a nice person. Nobody would have expected this. But I guess we're sensitive about the things we really love.
Honestly, she kind of brought it upon herself. God damn it. Ugh.
Like I said, I don't care if you're not in a manga, but you actually look down on other people for it. It's kind of the point I was trying to make in the first place. It's not about sugarcoating things. It's about just recognizing and understanding our differences. Okay, but here's the thing about that. Yuri actually looks down on me. It has nothing to do with her word choice or anything like that. So, I see what you were trying to do, but I really think the problem here is her. Not just, like, the way we talk to each other, right? I mean...
Well, no. Natsuki's actually not wrong here.
Yuri isn't like that. She's a lot sweeter than you're giving her credit for. I'm sure she'll be reflecting on this. I actually think everyone should. It'll be fine. I'll figure something out. Wow. I'm just, like, saying that instinctively. I'm just setting myself up to cause more problems.
This wasn't your fault, Monika. You don't have to beat yourself up over it. If you ask me, it's good that the truth finally came out, because I can just move on now.
But, it's fine. I promise. Let's just get our minds off this, okay? In fact, it's a good opportunity to read some manga without having to worry about feeding Yuri's superiority complex. Don't be mean. I'll talk or read manga or whatever you want, but don't be mean to my friends, okay? Sorry. I'm just bitter. Everything will be okay. I mean, I don't have the answers, but at least know that we're all good people and don't want to hurt each other. This will be a learning experience.
Monika says that, but her uneasiness is given away by how much she has to force the reassuring tone in her voice. This is bound to happen eventually. Natsuki and Yuri have always engaged with each other to at least the least out of anyone, and this is the reason. As Yuri and Natsuki proceed to distract themselves with manga, Monika sighs to herself, unable to shake her worried thoughts. Will the club really have to come to terms with the fact that some members will be incompatible with each other? I mean, true. Like, there are just some people who are incompatible. That's just a thing. Like, it sucks. But that is something that I did have to, like, accept. But that's how you just end up in a lot of, like surrounding yourself with toxic people if you just think, oh, well, if I work hard enough, then, you know, a friendship or a relationship will just work out. Like, having that mindset is just gonna, like, leave you trying to please the other person and the other person just hurting you all of the time. So, yeah, sometimes it's best to just accept that some people are incompatible, like, either with you or some people are incompatible with each other, and just let it lie and let them drift apart. That's just something that you have to learn through life, and it sucks, but it's just a thing. Like, you both will be better off for it, trust me. Monica desperately doesn't want to admit that, and she knows Sayori doesn't either, but for once, a solution doesn't seem to be in sight. Sadness. That being said, I have to pee, so I guess this is where I'm gonna take my break. Ooh.